So we had Catullus 35 by Jenny Sims and Kynleigh Avants, and this is our translation.
So we put the left is the original Latin poem that we found that we decided to do our project on, and on the right is the translation that we came up with. I asked you, Papyrus Roll, to tell the gentle poet, my friend Catullus, to come to Verona, leaving behind the walls of New Cumy and the Larian shores. For I wish that he would receive certain things of a friend of his and mine. Therefore, if he is wise, he would devour the way with haste, though his fair lady should call him back 1,000 times, and throwing both of her arms round his neck, to beg him to stay. Who now, if a true tale is brought to me, dotes on him with passionate love? For since she reads the beginning of his Lady of Didymus, ever since then, the poor girl, the fires have been hasting in her innermost marrow. I can feel the maiden more scholarly than the Sapphic muse, for Catullus has indeed made a lovely beginning to his Magna Mater.
So this is our analysis.
Okay, so Catullus is talking or addressing the papyrus roll as if he was talking to a friend, but he's actually writing this poem out on a roll and like speaking out his thoughts. So he's asking his friend Catullus to come to Verona to finish talking about his unfinished poem that he is writing called the Magna Mater. He then talks about this fair-skinned girl who's creating a delay. But the girl is actually representing the beauty of his poetry and their style of writing. The poem is very beautiful, but Catullus has to remind him that it is still incomplete and that he needs to come to Verona to talk about the unfinished poem so that he can help him to finish it.
So this is our themes in figurative language. Our first theme is Please Don't Go, and that is explicitly illustrated in lines 8 through 10, where Catullus states, though his fair lady should call him back 1,000 times, and throwing both of her arms round his neck to beg him to delay. So to beg him to delay, please don't go. She wants Catullus to stay and not go to Verona. The next theme that we both interpreted was words actively affecting actions that have already happened. You know, it's kind of hard for what you say to change something in the past that has already happened. So like how we interpreted it was Catullus, you know, basically almost begging Catullus, like, come to Verona. But, you know, it could be very doubtful that Catullus will come because he's fallen in love, per se, with this fair, beautiful maiden. Next, our figurative language is, first we have personification, which is stated in the first two lines. I asked you, Papyrus Roll, to tell the gentle poet. It's Catullus is acting like, you know, he's speaking to the Papyrus Roll like it's a person and asking them to do a human action, like asking an unhuman thing to do a human thing, which is, you know, impossible. So that's where we got the personification from. And then the symbolism is Catullus comparing the fair-skinned maiden to the beauty of the poetry. So next we have the scansion.
So we did 3 lines of scanning, even though we only had to do 2. And so the meter is hendecasyllable, which means that each line must have 11 marks in it, and that each line starts with 2 long marks. So if you look closely at our 3 lines that we did, Verona in the first line has 3 long marks in the beginning, so it works out. And if you count each mark in each line, there are 11 in each line.
And finally, we have how does this relate to the modern song? So we chose the song Before You Go by Lewis Capaldi because it relates back, just the title of the song is, kind of the gist of the song if you've heard it. And Please Don't Go Before You Go, that has a very obvious correlation. So we have two of our lyric examples. If Only I Had Known You Were the Storm to Weather. And Was There Something I Could Have Said to make your heart beat better? So first, If Only I Had Known You Were the Storm to Weather, that relates the symbolism of the fair maiden representing the beauty of Catullus' poem, the Magna Mater. So because it's symbolizing, the storm to weather, that person is representing is symbolizing, you are representing and symbolizing the storm to weather. So that's how we came to that conclusion with that two analysis and correlation. Next we have, was there something I could have said to make your heart beat better? That we interpreted that as personification because it's personifying the words, saying, okay, what can I do to make your heart beat better, even though, your heartbeat is completely scientific. So it's, putting an unscientific thing on a completely scientific thing. So that's where we got that, and that's how the song Before You Go by Lewis Capaldi relates to Catullus 35. So, yeah, thank you.